You ever write something that you just aren't quite happy with? I wanted to make a new monster, and normally I can get a half-decent monster design and stat block together within like an hour, depending on how complex I want it to be. But today I got this. I come from an hour in the future. I slapped together a stat block. It's on my website, which you can find in the description. Thank you. It's interesting, so I'm going to talk about what led to this point, but it's definitely in need of a full redesign. So starting out, I had a dungeon role for it to fill. I wanted to hide a magic item and gems within a cave-in, and add a monster that could pop out and yell boo. So we need something that can maneuver through rocks, preferably eating them, kind of like a bullet. But instead of being a wandering monster, it's much more static. Also lower CR, which is necessary for the dungeon, which is lower level. So I went into Blender and produced a shape. These leg thingies are kind of meant as a scooping agent, and this mouth doodad would ideally be shooting firebolts or some kind of laser in order to melt and slurp up rocks. So these would live in gravel patches or underground. Its behavior would be wandering into a nice spot and shooting the laser up, causing a food cave-in because they eat rocks. Additionally, when the players fight it, it would have the rare case of a proper ranged attack formed by the laser doodad it would be using to melt rocks. And if we added a shoving property, say shoves them 10 feet if it hits, this means the encounter would have them dig it up, and from this little hole he just starts blasting them while only letting one party member come within 5 feet of him at a time. This makes it relatively interesting from a game design perspective. If I throw in some lore of the Drow or some other Underdark race involving themselves in frequent sabotage of dwarvish faculties in order to prevent them from encroaching on their territory, so they made a bunch of these constructs and just threw them into random mines, it works pretty well. So that's our alright design, except it's just so gosh darn ugly. And surprisingly, that's enough for me to want to throw them out entirely. But I already wrote the dungeon room, so I decided I should try again to fill it. So I had two other concepts, neither of which I like, but I don't hate them. They just feel a touch uncreative. I take the bullet from before and I make it a child. I'd probably just label that stat block adolescent bullet. It's less fun because it doesn't have that ranged attack, but it does lower the CR and fill the role of causing the cave-in. But now it just needs to E another creature that I slap into the cave. Alternatively, I was thinking an earthworm design might be in order, but on attempting to make that in Blender, I found that that's not as easy as I expected because they got those weird kind of segmented bits. And it also feels a touch boring compared to the original design. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll be back in a few days with something else.